And then we're expected to use it, so not masses, but
And in general, if you step on the wood and take a seat on the blue, generally that's the best. Alright, so welcome to the river camp, everybody. Well, we are going to go in both directions, but we'll start by heading south to see the older colleges first, and then we'll spin around at the wooden bridge and go the other way to find things like the Bridge of Sighs. Beautiful. So Cambridge University is made up of 31 colleges.
31.
Yeah. The word college here is a very old-fashioned use of the word. The colleges are not actually schools. In the Middle Ages, so roughly maybe 1,000 years to about 500 years ago, a college was a place where a rich person would give an endowment to a group of people known as fellows, and then they would pray for that person's soul to help them get into heaven. In that time, it was thought that if you were poor, you would easily go to heaven after suffering in your life, but if you were rich in this world, it was very hard to get into heaven. You would be almost punished for your good luck, your good fortune. And so we're coming up right now to one of these colleges. They're doing a bit of renovation because they're an incredibly old college. This one was started in 1326, and the rich person in this case was a woman called Elizabeth de Clare. And if I tell you how she got her money, you might understand why she was so scared about not getting into heaven. Before her 30th birthday, she married 3 men, all of them quite rich, and then all of them died within about a year of marrying her. So, of course, she inherited all the money, making her one of the richest women in the country, but she believed she was cursed. She never remarried, and she was frightened of course, not getting into heaven. So Clare College was set up nearly 700 years ago, and they had their own chapel. That's where they would pray for her soul, and then loads of bedrooms, and just in the back they would have a tiny educational department so that the scholars could sort of learn to maybe read and write while they were here. So things have changed a lot since then. Nowadays, of course, the religious part is kind of a bit at the back of the new colleges, and the schooling and the teaching is, of course, the main focus, but not at the colleges. Colleges are still just places with a chapel, lots of bedrooms, as well as things like a dining hall, a library to write your essays. And so now on our left, these are all bedrooms pretty much. We've got bedrooms for Clare College on the left behind the wall, and bedrooms now coming up for a much larger college called King's. And King's has the most famous building in Cambridge, this lovely chapel, which took nearly 100 years to build. It's a very ornate design, as you can see from the towers at the top, and on the inside it's just the same. They have a fan vault ceiling, which is the largest in the world, and the BBC use it for their carol service every Christmas Eve, streamed all over the world. A fan vault ceiling is just an architectural style that looks like fans spreading out across the ceiling. It's very, very detailed and hard to create, but it looks very stunning. I can see that there are people going into the chapel, so after the tour you could try and go in and visit. It is enormous on the inside, it's beautiful. But I should just explain before we go further that if they don't have classes and lectures in the colleges, well, where are they? The answer is every subject has its own separate school. And behind these trees on the right, you can find the School of Law, the School of Architecture and the School of Music, but they're scattered all over the town. And if you're a student studying law, you would go every day to the School of Law for your class, but then you would come back to your college, maybe Clare College or King's, it doesn't matter. You can live in any college and attend any school. Yeah. It's a very unusual system. Only Cambridge, Oxford and Durham in the UK have this system. I don't know anywhere else with this type of system. And if it's all starting to sound a little bit Harry Potter, then to make it even more like Harry Potter, you choose your college a bit like Harry choosing between Gryffindor and Slytherin. It's not based on the subject you study. Colleges don't have special subjects, they have special cultures and communities. So of course Harry goes to Gryffindor because he wants to be courageous and to make friends who are similar to him in that way. Well, King's College is a very left-wing college. Most of their students come from poorer backgrounds than average here, state schools instead of private schools, and they often hold protests about left-wing issues like trans rights. We had the Ukraine war protest earlier this year. They're very politically active. We have other colleges which are more conservative, some which only take female students or postgraduates. So a bit like Harry, you join and from day one you're surrounded by students who are similar to you. It's easy to make friends that way. So the city became known as Cambridge, and then this section of the river, that's Greenwich. Now we're getting a nice close-up view on the left here of, well, some students eating at McDonald's by the river here. Not something we see every day, I'll be honest. But right behind them, loads of student bedroom windows for King's College. Still King's College, yeah, it's enormous. When it was first built, it took up 25% of the whole town's size. Yeah. Rainbow. Yes. Rainbow. I can see 3 rainbow flags here. A couple behind the wall, actually. And the rainbow flag, which is of course a symbol of pride. Yes, so the rainbow part is signifying sexuality, lesbians, gays, trans. On the top you can see different colours like brown and black, so that's about racial diversity. So this is about being proud about your skin colour or your sexuality. And it has a special connection to a famous code breaker who taught at King's College almost 100 years ago, Alan Turing. Turing is now on the back of our £50 banknote because in World War II he created one of the world's first computers to solve the German code which allowed our government to eavesdrop on the German conversations, find out where the bombs were going to be and move away. So it saved millions of lives. The reason that that rainbow flag is connected to him is that sadly he was gay before that was legal in this country, and so he was basically punished for being a criminal even though he'd saved all these lives. So his life had a tragic ending, But before all of that, he was here at King's College, publishing papers which are still referenced in artificial intelligence developments. You know, modern computers were developed from those ideas, so he had a remarkable mind. Yes, it is, yeah. This is the mathematical bridge coming up. Very clever design. They say if you were to take away all the bolts and screws from the bridge, that it wouldn't fall down because the wood is just arranged perfectly between the banks. I don't think that's ever been tested, but in theory, anyway, it could work. The college that we're surrounded by here is called Queen's College. So this was in the 1440s. The king founded King's College, which was this huge project. It was going to take many decades to build. And so very quickly afterwards, just 5 years later, they built this on the left so that the king and queen had a nice place to live or stay when they visited Cambridge. So these bedrooms were occupied by King Henry VI and Queen Margaret of Anjou at one time, and it was built in 1448. So one of the oldest buildings near the river. And they still use it now, of course, not for kings and queens, but professors. They have a kitchen, a dining hall, a painted chapel inside. Quite a special building. The mathematical bridge has been here for nearly 300 years. Its design dates back to 1749, which was just after Sir Isaac Newton had passed away. So the bridge uses some of his mathematics as a tribute to him. But of course the original wood eroded over the first couple of centuries. So this one dates back to 1905, and it's made of a slightly stronger wood called teak, which will hopefully last many centuries more.
This wooden bridge, bridge is the name of this wooden bridge. This is a wooden bridge. The wooden bridge is a rubbish anchor which is made of wood.
But it's sort of just a... These are the other two royal colleges in Cambridge. And speaking of royals, on the right now, you can see a few bedroom windows where Prince Charles, now King Charles III, lived when he was a student. This is Trinity College, founded by perhaps the most powerful monarch we ever had, King Henry VIII. So his college is still the wealthiest and most powerful today. The reason being that originally he wanted it to promote his church, the Church of England, and convert all the other colleges here away from the Catholic Church. So now it's worth about £1.5 billion in assets. Billion. Here on the right is an archive library designed by Sir Christopher Wren. He designed St Paul's Cathedral in London. Inside there you'll find 80,000 manuscripts, all of them written by former students of the college. So that includes Sir Isaac Newton, Lord Byron and Percy Shelley, the poets, even my personal favourites, the Winnie the Pooh stories. Yeah.
Sharon's facing the wrong way. Go, Sharon.
Off to our left now, we have the beginning of what I think is the prettiest college on the river, St John's.
Okay, how's the work?
She's trying to say something.
Now St John's is the largest college in central Cambridge. They've got 2 bridges instead of the usual one, joining hundreds of student bedrooms on either side of us. But the name of this next bridge actually comes from a prison bridge in Venice, because this one looks a little bit like a prison with the bars and the windows. Into bridge of the final sigh, or the final breath. And that's because the prisoners crossing it were on their way to the execution chamber. So they were literally breathing their final sighs whilst crossing the bridge. The name of this bridge is not quite as romantic as it sounds at first. But St John's is the most popular college for students applying to Cambridge. They just all want to be living in these buildings, especially this one on my left. It looks a lot like Harry Potter, doesn't it?